Great episode today. I hope you're excited because I am. It is my trainer, Mykel Jenkins. Mykel is such a force of nature. Not only does he train me and Sandy and Kat, Drop Squad, better known as Drop Squad, he also trains Olympic beach volleyball players, male and female. He also is an actor. He writes, directs, produces his own movies. If you want to check one of his movies out, he has a movie called The Gods and The Gods 2 and Octopus Pot. All three are on Tubi. You can also see The Gods 1 and Octopus Pot on Amazon. We'll put some links in our description. So if you want to click the link and go check out what he makes on his own, he's made 8 films all on his own, which is amazing. And I just adore him. I say this in the podcast. I feel like he's my brother, like we were brothers in another life or something. And I just love talking to him. So we talk about religion. We talk about working out. We talk about being an actor. We talk about a bunch of stuff. We talk about Drop Squad. So thanks for coming back every week. He's generously offered to answer any questions about working out or about filmmaking. So you can go to birdieboyproductions.com and go to the Wife of the Party tab and send me an email, and I will forward it to Mykel. If you have any questions, it's so kind of him to offer himself up. I hope you enjoy this conversation as much as I did. He's one of my favorite people on the planet. So, yeah, get ready to listen to me talk to Mykel Jenkins. I'm so glad you're here.
I'm so glad to be here.
Thank you for coming.
I would rather be nowhere else.
Well, thank you. I'd rather be talking to nobody else. So there are times in your life where people show up.
Yes.
Right? And it is effortless, understanding immediately, right?
Yes.
I feel like you effortlessly understood me immediately, and the reverse was true. Would you say that's right?
I would say that you came open to receive, to give that.
Yeah.
Which left the possibility of that happening.
Yeah.
And very quickly I realized that you trusted me, trusted the space we were in, trusted. And that makes it really easy to then let your guard down, because freedom is what you're looking for. You're looking for that safe space. And so, yeah, I would say pretty quickly.
Pretty quickly. I'm pretty open all the time, though. I'm always kind of
I think it's beautiful, man. I don't think enough people do it.
I don't think so either. But do most people show up to you
guarded?
Guarded.
Well, most people are injured.
Well, I was injured.
Yes, but most people are injured and see it as a weakness and don't really want to divulge it. They just want you to figure it out. Really?
So they don't go, hey, this is what's going on?
No.
Really?
People don't refer to personal trainers as, people don't think of us as body mechanics. Mm-hmm. They think that you just throw weights around and help people build vanity muscles. I don't know what, but they don't really think of us like body mechanics, and they should. Your trainer should be able to, when something's not running right with the engine, get in there and.
Yeah, but you're not regular. You know that. Okay. You're not regular, and you know that. How many certifications do you have? Like 8,000?
9.
See? Not regular. And you have a background in what?
Well,
psychology.
Yeah.
Not regular. And you are an actor. Not regular. So you can't say that.
All right. You're right. I was looking from, I'm not regular.
You're not regular.
I appreciate
you are
that.
exceptional. You are exceptional at everything you do, from my experience and observation, right? Everything I've ever seen you do is exceptional. Somebody who can make as many films as you have made on your own and acted and written and directed is exceptional. And we can name your films if you want, but I'll definitely be talking about them in the intro so people can find them. You have to tell me where they are, where we can find all of them. I think I know, but
okay,
you tell me. But that's exceptional. And then you have 9 certifications in. Yeah. So are they in like personal training, or are they?
Well, they're in more the understanding of training, like math science and kinesiology and like surgical tubing and
surgical tubing.
Yeah, that's like the tubes you see, the straw like bands you play with that everybody's selling. There's really it's an exceptional instrument. And most people just basically know the 7 things you can do with it.
Mm.
But it's really, if you get into a situation where you can understand just how flawless this mechanism is, you can do pretty much everything with it.
With just the tube?
With just the tube.
Hmm. So you have a training in that?
Yes.
I didn't know it was called surgical tubing.
Yeah.
I just thought it was called
stability ball.
Tube. Stability ball.
Yeah, that's that ball everybody sits on in front of their office because it helps you sit erect.
Yeah.
Well, there's a monsoon of things you can do with that thing. And the concept is really, I try and get ahead of like, my mind is constantly, it works in pictures. Mm-hmm. So like I see people that I have in my life as like art. Mm-hmm. And I want to be part of sculpting this artwork. Because when people are at their most powerful state, their most beautiful state, they tend to do miraculous things. Mm-hmm. And I like being part of that journey.
That's beautiful. That's really beautiful. You know who else is like that? Is my hairdresser, where he is an artist. He's a painter.
Yeah.
And he does hair. And he has the same approach, is that doing hair is like painting.
Absolutely.
So what I hear you saying is training people and helping them sculpt their body is art. It's art. It's not just science, or it's not just physical beauty or physicality or strength, or it's more than that. It is that and an art form. That's amazing. That's a beautiful way of looking at that. I guarantee you a lot of people don't look at it like that.
Well, then it would require you to keep learning. That's why people choose not to. I like for people to bring me problems I've never had. And then they send me on an information. That journey will send me on an information scout. And if there is a possible way of fixing or helping or aiding in any kind of way, I'm gonna try everything I possibly can to make that happen, because I know what it is to be wounded.
Yeah.
And so for me, to see somebody, find that beauty in themselves, and to be sitting behind or beside or around them when they do, it's much more than money, or much more than, and it's people want to look a certain way physically, but they'd rather feel the way they think that looks than feel like they feel and look like they want.
Okay.
So it's impossible actually to get what you're looking for without getting to what really is preventing you from having it.
Right. It's emotional, right?
A lot of it, which is where my psychology minor really helps me.
Right. Because a lot of it is psychological. We were talking on the ride home. I work out, with Drop Squad.
Yes,
Kat
ma'am.
and Sandy, which, those two pieces
beasts,
of work.
Man. Y'all are beasts.
We're beasts?
You're beasts.
I think we are. I think you said it today. You were like, you all bosses, so you're not listening to me because we're all a boss. And it's the truth. All three of us are boss ladies. It's kind of amazing that the three of us get along so well, because we are all boss ladies.
I've never seen it.
But we love each other very much and respect each other and understand our differences, I think.
Appreciate each other's differences, yes.
We do. We really do. But yeah, it was funny today. You said, y'all bosses, you got to stop being bosses and listen. But it was funny on the way home. I said, what should I talk to him about? Because I know what I have in mind.
Yes.
But tell me what you have in mind so I can add something to it. One of the things we came up with is, you can tell when we walk into the pit if we've eaten too much, if we drank the night before, if we are stressed, if we have something deep down going on, the minute we show up. Like from the driveway, something's up. And that is like, I think that is your like superhero power. Because once you see that, and I know sometimes that you adjust what you had planned for what's going on. You do, don't you?
Yes.
I know you do. Because I show up and I go, oh, this wasn't what he had in mind today. But somebody brought something today.
Yes.
That now we're doing this. It's so awesome to watch. You really are exceptional at what you do. It's really amazing to watch. That's why we keep coming back. Not only because you're exceptional at what you do, but it's like watching It's like watching a master at work, a master class. And I'm in the master class. It's really crazy. Do you feel that way?
I feel that people don't really don't live their lives in a state of grace, a state of gratitude.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and so they get in moments where they try to get and take, and they're not really in the moment. It's like the phone is really, really a problem. But what I found is people want to tell you what's going on, especially if they trust that you're going to do something to help them.
Mm-hmm.
But you have to pay attention.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's available for anyone if they're generous enough to move themselves out of the way for a minute and let someone present themselves to you. And when you walk out the car certain ways, like, it's funny, but you change the way you walk when you are feeling yourself. Like when you're in that right place and we can just rock and roll, there's a little pop to it, a little hop to it. There's a little skip.
Yeah.
Then when it's like heavy, it's a little bit heavy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I believe working out is exactly that.
Mm-hmm.
Working whatever it is out. Like, and once we get it out, negative, positive, whatever it is, we can use it. It's like fuel. You know what I mean? But we got to get it out.
Yeah.
So I didn't go into the journey, which, I'm a very spiritual person. I try to let God come in, and I create an environment we can all grow from. Mm-hmm. And then I try to let God come in and talk to me, and he does. Like, and a lot of people think that God is some mystic figure that's up there to limit what you do and chastise you and hurt you when you're sinning. I wasn't raised that way. I was raised like you can draw on his power. Like when you're weak, he will carry you. When you need, he will aid you. But you have to labor. You have to go out and do it till you can't do anything else. And when you've done all you can do, then he comes. So like I prepare. So I'm not waiting on. I prepare to my last second, and then I let you girls talk to me. I let you girls' bodies and your souls and your spirits tell me where to go.
Right.
And then we go.
Right. What's your background? Are you Southern Baptist? What are you? What were you?
I'm
What were you raised at?
I'm Southern Baptist. I went to church. You know how we do.
Yeah, but tell me. You went to church all the time?
I'm churched up, man. I told my mother, because I haven't been to a physical building in about 15 years.
Yeah.
Because I was so churched up as a kid. Like, Hour and Power on Wednesdays and Monday nights and Sunday for 5 or 6 hours and 2 double ups here. And I just felt sometimes that I wasn't able to really practice any of it. Mm. Like I'm getting all this information.
Too busy going to church.
Too busy going to church.
You can't fly it if you're always there.
And I was like, this is not it. Like this is not, you keep telling me about bringing people to God. Uh-huh. But you're talking to people who have come to seek him. Uh-huh. Like we're not gathering up in front of the parking lot and setting to the streets. And I just felt like at a certain point when I was old enough to tell my mother, I have my own relationship with God, and it's not crammed into this small Southern Baptist box.
Right.
And, of course, she lost her religion.
She did?
Yeah, she was mad.
Yeah, I bet she was mad.
I just can't even talk to you.
I can't even talk to you.
I said, no, you really can't.
So give it up.
So stop. And I think that I have, if people who know me know that I, in different ways, introduce people to this wonderful power that you can draw on when you're in need, that you don't have to feel shame and all those other things. And like, I try to live it, and then I'm a lot more fulfilled. I mean,
Yeah, aren't you? Because if you just have faith, right? Just have faith. And faith can be different things to different people, but faith for me is a knowing that I'm taken care of.
Yeah.
I just know it. I don't
Yes.
doubt it. I don't question it. I just know it. And then when bad things happen, and bad things happen to everybody, and really bad things have happened to me from time to time, I go, well, what am I supposed to learn here? Because it came here for a reason. So I have to learn something from it.
Yes.
Maybe some psychologists would say that's a coping mechanism, but I don't think it is. I think it's faith, is believing that everything came to you because you weren't listening, maybe.
And now he's got your attention.
Or you were listening, or whatever it is. And
something to get. That's beautiful.
It is. It's something, everything's a gift. Everything is a gift. And if you have faith, then you believe that. And I think when you start believing that, more gifts come your way. When you just relax and surrender and let God, it makes life so much easier. I sleep really good at night. I don't really worry about much. You know why? Because I know there's a higher power that's got it for me. I don't have to worry about that. So
it's, people
going to church doesn't get you that, though.
No, ma'am. Perfect attendance at your local corner.
No.
Building that
it's belief.
Yes.
And it's a belief in something you can't see, touch, feel.
That's right.
You just got to believe.
Mm-hmm.
And when you do that, everything just kind of falls away and gets really easy.
I want to say this about faith, because people, when you start talking about God, people get tight, and I don't know what that's about, but they do. And I was given the privilege of marrying a client who'd come to me.
Wait, you married a client?
Yes.
Wait, Tracy was your client?
No. I'm a minister.
Marrying.
Ministered.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Okay,
no,
got sorry. Sorry, I was like, what?
Nah, I had a client that had been through a lot with me.
Got it. You officiated their marriage. Okay,
yes.
Got it.
And when they asked me, he said one of the most beautiful things to me. He said, I don't believe in God, but I understand the concept. And you are the closest thing I know to someone who lives it. So would you marry me?
What a great compliment.
And I said, I don't know if I can marry someone who doesn't believe. So we need to talk.
Right.
So he came to my house and we started talking. And I realized something. It's the word God that scares people. But if you use the word love. Because I was like, he's like, I just don't get this faith thing. I said, do you love your wife? Your fiance? He said, absolutely. I said, and how long do you think you're going to be together? And he said, forever. And I was like, well, why would you ever believe that? You have absolutely no proof that feeling in your stomach. So it's a feeling. So it's not about something you can see, because he's real scientist, a real philosopher. I said, so it really isn't about you being able to see it or put it out, because you can't take love and put it on your little science scale neither.
Right.
But when she walks in the room, your heart, your chemistry changes. Mm-hmm. That's God, bro.
Right.
And you believe in that so much, you're willing to bet the rest of your life on it.
Right.
You believe. What you don't want is to have to answer to someone for the things you do in quiet.
Right.
That you don't want to be held responsible for. So that's an easy answer to that is do better.
Yeah, right?
Just do better. You'll want it to be one.
Yeah.
But what's the problem with believing in God? I never got it. Like, to believe in him does what to you?
Nothing.
If you believe in him.
Nothing bad.
Nothing bad.
Nothing bad.
Unless you're so rotten. And you have intentions of staying rotten.
Unless you're so rotten.
And you're just like, I'm not trying to do good to nobody. And I don't want to talk about it. Then you go, well, I don't believe.
Maybe not for me. Maybe
not for me.
Why'd you start being a trainer? How'd that happen?
My mother had a stroke.
What? Your mother had a stroke? How old was she? Was she young?
She was young. And it paralyzed the left side of her body. And I watched her go through this ridiculous thing they called rehab. And I was like, these people don't care. Like, I've been in enough sports and real training and real situations where I knew these people weren't really trying. This assembly line thing they do, then call it rehab. It's just ridiculous. And I watched her go through this for 16 weeks till the insurance ran out. And then I watched them give her a handicap license plate and shove in a cane and shove her ass out the door. And I was like, yeah, no.
How long ago was that?
I don't know.
Like 20 years?
I would say 20 years.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I saw that and I was like, okay, I'm going to do it. And I graduated from Loyola and I knew they had a facility. And I was like, I don't have the equipment I need and I want access to a full throttle of things. So me and my mother wrote a grant to Loyola to fund my.
No way.
Yes. And I would bring a training program there, which is still there to this day in New Orleans. And
that's crazy.
They told me it was going to fail because they had 4 other people try. I said, mine won't fail.
They told you the program was going to fail?
They said it's failed. We've tried this 4 other times. It's failed. And I said, yeah, but I wasn't running it. It won't fail. And I explained to them how, insurance benefits for having someone on campus to train your faculty. So you're not even paying me. Like you're basically getting all your money back.
Right.
And you get to use that concept. And then they saw how well I was doing. And they were like, at first it was, I don't have to give them anything.
Right.
Just be there and they'll continue to send me out. And then they saw what was happening. And then they called me back in and shotgunned me. It was like, yeah, we need a little of that. And I was like, not a problem.
15%. That's so cool.
Yeah, man. And then I did the next best thing, which was smart. Was I made them pay to send me off to certify my own trainers. So I went and got myself in a position where I could certify trainers. Mm-hmm. And then I brought my guys in who think like me.
Right.
And hired them at Loyola. And they got a piece of every one of them. So it became like, listen, I think half the problem with the whole situation is that people get jobs they're not passionate about. They get them because they either think they're easy, they think, it can help them get to the next thing, or so their investment is small. Mm-hmm. And so like you can't be good at anything if you don't really want to be there.
No, it's absolutely true. Yeah.
All my guys love it. So like it starts there. They love the whole process. And I was like, okay, let's see what your comprehension level is. Mm-hmm. And so like to this day, they're still doing it.
That's awesome.
They've all ventured out on their own. Like,
have they?
It's what I love.
So why don't you do that here? Why don't you certify people here and build a big thing here?
Because I don't want to do it.
Why?
Because I have other callings.
Because you want to focus on acting.
Yes, my heart. And that's the deal I made with my father. It's like I will. Because when I came here, I'm like, I'm not training anybody no more. I'm just going to act. And I remember I was coming home from church.
Yeah.
Because my preacher, Southern, you can find us.
Yes.
He pulled me over in my car. And he said, I'll give you nothing. Your harvest will dry up. I will dry it all up if you don't use all of your talents. And I was like, okay, I'll do 8. He's like, you do how many I tell you. You don't put your limitations on me.
Right.
Or I'll put limitations on you.
Right.
And I don't want that.
No.
So very clearly, I heard him and I was like, okay, at least let me pick them. Can I pick them?
You pick most of them, huh?
I pick all of them now.
Yeah.
I pick all of them now. And it's really good because I don't like energy is important to me. And when you have somebody come in and who doesn't want to be there and it's like a horrible 60 minutes.
Right.
Or 75 minutes or whatever your journey you're on. And you have to walk into that. Somebody I care about is coming right behind you.
Right.
And I get to walk into all that poop that you laid on the floor.
You got to shake it off. It's too much, yeah.
Yeah. And what if you already have poop on your clothes? Now I got poop on the floor. I got poop on you. Yeah. It's not even your poop.
Right.
Well, how are we going to?
I think you call that a shit show.
Yes, I think that's exactly what that is.
I think that's a shit show.
That's good. I don't want any shit shows in my show.
You don't have time for that. Who has time for a shit show? Nobody.
Time for that.
I don't have time for that.
Everybody
I've ever met that works out with you is lovely, nice people. Everybody's lovely. Everybody's committed. That's the thing. I don't see wishy-washy. Obviously I don't see everybody you work out with, but the people I see coming in are consistent and happy to be there.
Yeah. And I think that's a tribute to
you. That's a tribute to you
and them.
and to you because you draw to you what energy you put out.
Absolutely
right?
correct.
100%.
1000%.
So everybody loves all my friends. Well, I do too, but that's for me also.
Yeah.
And I was drawn to you by luck or whatever you want to say it, or the cosmos or the universe. But we stay because of our energy.
Yeah.
It's because of the energy.
And great thing. Look at what has happened.
Yeah.
Since our union. Like, this is how you know when God has sent someone.
Yeah.
When they come in and start falling apart,
yep.
get them out of the. But when they come in, and then you start to grow,
yeah,
that's fertilizer.
Oh, totally, 100%. Yeah.
When I leave somebody, or we get in a discussion and I don't want to deal with them anymore, and then they're out of my life and things aren't going well, I go back and get them. But be careful, because if you get up out of my life and I'm prospering, I don't even remember your name.
Right. And that's an interesting concept. I hadn't thought about that. If someone's out of your life and things start going wrong, you go back and get them.
Yeah.
That's really fascinating.
Because that's me forcing the hand, because I believe favor follows his will. So like, sometimes you get in your ego and you're like, nah. And it's really you might need to take a look at. And I let the blessings, as you just said, I let those blessings tell me how to play my hand. I have no problem with apologizing.
Right.
None. I have no problem with being wrong.
Right.
I also have no problem with being right.
Me neither, by the way. I like being right.
Yes, ma'am.
I don't have a problem being wrong either. I think I apologize pretty easily, but I don't apologize without understanding why I'm apologizing. I think that's very insincere. That's one of my biggest fights I have with Bert. Is he's like, you just need to tell me you're sorry, and then I go, I'm not a liar, so I can't do that if I don't understand why I'm saying I'm sorry.
You and my wife.
I'll say I'm sorry, but I need to be sorry. Yeah. I can't just say sorry because you need me to say sorry, because it won't be genuine and you won't like it.
Nope.
So you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to figure out why I screwed up. May take me a day.
Yep.
And then I'll tell you I'm sorry and I'll really fucking mean it. Or I'll come back and go,
yeah, that's not me.
I don't agree with you.
Yeah, exactly.
And we always going to have to agree to disagree, and I'm not sorry, because I can't do that. It's really, I find it the older I get, I didn't realize how linear and like fact-based my brain is. I think it's because I grew up with a mom who had no linear fact-based anything. Everything was distorted. So my coping mechanism was to hold real tightly to the truth and the fact. So sometimes in life, I have very little tolerance for people who don't hold on to fact and linear.
Maybe that's why we get along so well.
It may be, because I think you're very similar.
I don't like liars.
Oh, I can't handle liars.
Can't do nothing with it.
Well, not even just liars, drama for drama's sake.
Can't do
when
that.
Drama is not based on something factual that deserves drama, I'm out.
Right.
That's why I never had girlfriends growing up. I always had guy friends. I had all my friends in high school. Well, not all of them. I had girlfriends in high school. But I remember thinking like, I don't understand what this is. Why are we talking about this again? Like, either shit or get off the pot, man. Fix it or shut the fuck up. I don't want to hear it. And guys aren't like that.
No, ma'am. We're fixers.
They just don't do it.
Nope.
They don't get in that spot, except for maybe my husband. But now that I think about it.
Yeah, he's special.
But
I think that people think the drama makes them valuable. And what
you are right about that.
What I've learned is, it took a good friend of mine to tell me this once. He said, "You sell hours. You're not a product. You sell hours. So when the hours are up, you filled them with those people,
right?
And let's just say that's the last person you spend your hour with, and you let money be the reason that you signed them up,
right?"
Yeah, I thought that changed my whole focal point. Everyone who comes in my space, who I've had the pleasure of being with, if the last moment, which is what I love about you guys in the Drop Squad, like, it's more than just we go in there and get the work done. That's happening. But we have a way of communicating that it's fun.
It's super fun.
Which is why all my guys that I hire don't want to go back to their other jobs when school comes back in, because they They didn't realize you could do it and have such a positive experience. And if I were to have that as my last moment on this earth, it's one I can live with.
Right.
That is invaluable to me.
That's so cool. That's a really great way to look at it and a very positive thing to say. Today's podcast is brought to you by Lumi. Do you know what Lumi is? Lumi's really cool. It is a whole body deodorant line of products that are just awesome. They have deodorant for everywhere on your body, even, your private parts. They have wipes for your body. They have so many amazing things to check out. We brought our whole package of Lumi with us on our last trip. And I particularly liked the wipes, the deodorant wipes, because I feel like, sorry guys, I am in menopause. Sweating is a part of my daily life. And I feel so gross after I have had like a hot flash. So just to have a wipe, just to go in the ladies' room and wipe yourself down is so refreshing. And it keeps you fresh for like 72 hours, which is so awesome. I love throwing those things in my luggage and going and not having to worry about any of of like smelling bad or having to take care of myself personally in that way for 72 hours. And they block odor all day long. I mean, it's awesome. They're aluminum free, baking soda free, paraben free, pH balanced. They were created by an OBGYN, which is awesome. So you know that it's good for you, safe. It's not something that has a bunch of junk in it. The starter packs are perfect for new customers. They come with a solid stick deodorant, a cream tube deodorant, 2 free products of your choice. You could choose from like a mini body wash or the deodorant wipes I was talking about. And there's free shipping. As a special offer for listeners, new customers get $5 off a Lumi starter pack with code WIFE30 at lumideodorant.com. Lumi is spelled Lume, lumideodorant.com. That equates to over 40% off your starter pack when you visit lumideodorant.com and use code WIFE30. Let me say that one more time. Special offer for our listeners. New customers get $5 off a Lumi starter pack with the code WIFE30 at lumideodorant.com. That equates to over 40% off your starter pack when you visit lumideodorant.com and use the code WIFE30. This week's podcast is brought to you by Babbel. Babbel is spelled Babbel, which I think is cool in and of itself. But Babbel is an app where you can learn a language in short 15-minute lessons. I think this is so cool. Anybody has 15 minutes if you want to learn a language. What a great tool if you're going on a trip sometime soon to a foreign country that doesn't speak English as their first language. Maybe give it a shot. 15 minutes a day. Who knows how much you can learn? You can learn a whole language if you want. Fully speak fluently in 15 minutes a day. I think that's awesome. So I took French in high school, and I remember like, quel âge avez-vous? That's kind of it. Comme ci, comme ça. That's it. I'm not having a conversation with those 2 phrases. So when I signed up for Babbel, I signed up to start taking French over again because I'm hoping and I'm thinking, and it already is, sort of coming back to me quickly. And wouldn't it be cool to speak another language? I think it is. I think as Americans, we really sell ourselves short by only speaking English. So Babbel. 15 minutes a day. You can choose from 14 different languages, including Spanish, French, Italian, and German. Babbel's speech recognition technology helps you improve your pronunciation and your accent. When I was in high school, my French teacher told me I had excellent pronunciation. So I want to keep with that like reputation, right? I don't want to be speaking French like a redneck. That'd be quel âge avez-vous? No, I don't think that works. So I love that is part of what Babbel does for you, is to make sure that you're speaking it truly correctly. That's amazing. In addition to lessons, you can access podcasts, games, videos, stories, and even live classes. And it comes with a 20-day money-back guarantee. Right now, get up to 55% off your subscription when you go to babbel.com/wife. Remember, that's Babbel, babbel.com/wife for up to 55% off your subscription. Babbel, language for life. I feel like 3 rascals get out of the car when the 3 of us show up. You just rascal. Yes. Just handful. Yes. Shit talk, trash talk. We trash talk. I love the trash talking.
You
The other day, I was having a hard day here. It wasn't hard in a bad way. It was just intense and very busy. And I did not have time to work out. Legitimately. It was Monday. I did not have time. And I did it anyway. I picked the ladies up and we laughed so hard about Kat negotiating something in Vietnam where she was fighting with this woman over, I'm not joking, like $2. It went on forever. And I was embarrassed. I finally just left and she's still, nah. And we just relived it and laughed. And when we got back here, when I dropped it back off, I said, thank you so much. I needed that 2 hours so badly, not just for my body, but for my soul and for my brain to not think about something that's happening in this house, this particular house all day long. It's all I do lately is just work. So that 2 hours of those two other rascals, most of the time it's just one, is precious. And then we show up to you. Let me tell you how much I've learned from working out with you. Okay. Here's the thing about you. I know you're from New Orleans and Texas.
Yeah.
But your mom and daddy are from where I'm from.
Yeah.
Like 30 minutes away.
Yeah.
Like I'm from even smaller town than Cedartown.
Wow.
But my town is tiny. I'm on this episode of this podcast this week called Are You Garbage? Where they ask you questions to find out if you're white trash or not. And I think I might have broke their meter. I think I left and they were like, holy shit, is hay coming out of the back of her like pants? What the heck? But
oh my God.
Your mom and dad, Cedartown is not big.
No, man.
So when I first found out you were from Cedartown, I immediately went, I know exactly who he is. I know exactly who he is at the core. Like, I don't know your quirks and eccentricities and all that, but I know where you come from and who raised you and what that looked like and how you got spanked and how you got talked to and how I knew you really quick. And there's something to be said about being from those places.
Yes.
When you meet somebody else from that place, I feel like there's a shorthand that happens.
Yes.
There's been several times we've gotten in the car and Sandy was like, he was yelling so much today. And I was like, he was? And she goes, yeah. And I'm like, he's not yelling, honey.
No.
He's talking to you with passion. If he's yelling, you're going to know it. And she's like, that sounds a lot like yelling to me. I was like, no, this is part of where we grew up. This is part of how people talk to each other.
He's yelling, you're going to know it.
I did.
People don't really get it.
They don't get it because
passion.
It's culturally, it's very different.
Very.
It looks like yelling.
Yes.
To
people who don't really know.
People in middle America and people who grew up in like New York and Boston and whatever.
Right.
That don't have the experience of people that are from the country who just freaking talk loud to each other.
Who talk loud
real
to each
strongly. And you make me mad and it's going to get louder. But this is not yelling.
No, man.
Yelling is a completely different thing. And I actually so much enjoy being in that environment because that's where I grew up. And no one here acts like that.
No.
Nobody does.
That's because they don't think they can, which is why I started my own business.
Right.
Because no one's going to tell me how to motivate a spirit. Sometimes it needs to be
motivated. Yeah.
And so like if I'm in a space, I'm gonna listen to the call of the wild. If you call me to the wild, I'm coming. Like, don't worry, I'm with you no matter where you want to be.
Right.
If you want to, but you can't choose to be loud and then want me to whisper.
Oh yeah.
I'm gonna meet you where. I had an intern studying with me once, and he's like, "You just say it's crazy. You just say things to these doctors," and and I said, "It's not crazy." You've never been on a level with them where they felt you could say.
Right.
So you're doing what you're told.
Right.
I'm doing what's necessary.
Right.
So sometimes, he just watched me for a year and he's like, I said, what did you learn? He said, you never changed. I said, the only person who's offended by what I'm doing is the loser in that person that knows I'm killing it. Like, there is a loser in everybody.
Sure.
And it's a loud mofo.
Mm-hmm.
It's been comforted and it's been tended to. So when something comes along that threatens it, it tries to, You know
it
what I
gets
mean?
really butthurt.
Yeah.
It gets
It's
really
real
upset.
butthurt. And you got to go in there and as I like to say to him, I'm like, I'm going to bully that mofo up out of there. Like, I'm going to bully him.
Yeah.
Because this woman, like the thing about, I only train bosses.
Yeah, yeah.
Head of anesthesia, head of kinesiology, head of like a doctor who runs 3 hospitals. Like,
Right.
I only train bosses.
Olympic athletes.
Well,
yeah.
I train bosses because I think they're affecting hundreds of lives.
Right.
And I know they say if you just impact one, then living wasn't in vain. Well, I always think like, why don't I choose the right one though? And then that one can impact 100.
That's very
and then
smart.
that one hits 1,000, 100,000. I'm like, if I can help keep that person in their light and in their purpose, then I'm helping move
mountains.
Mountains.
Well, the thing about that is, I think bosses who are really good at their job are able to grow and pivot. You can't stay in a job and really be good at it if you're not able to know when you need to learn. I think the best way to look at a trainer to me is, or a therapist or anybody like that is, I don't know everything. And for me to think I do is really ignorant and really arrogant. So why in the world would I think, hey, anybody can get on a treadmill and run and call it working out?
Yes.
And I do that also. I do run on a treadmill without you.
Yes.
I hike, I ride bikes, I do all kind of stuff. That's not the same thing as training.
That's not training.
That's working out. And that's healthy. That's a healthy lifestyle.
That's working out, but that's not training.
It's not training. No. But I think in order for a person to be high achieving in life, no matter what they do, nurse, carpenter, anything, you have to find somewhere else where you don't know what you're doing and be taught for your whole life. Because curiosity is the key to freedom, really. Curiosity is the key to mastery of anything, right? If you stop being curious about acting, you stop growing.
Yeah.
It's the same with everything else. My body's changing because I'm aging, and I'm curious about that. And how do I change that? And how do I stop some of that? Or how do I help some of that?
And you really are curious.
I am very curious.
A lot of people say they're curious, and then when they start getting answers they don't like, they don't.
No. I'm really genuinely a very curious person. And I am very willing to have the answer.
Yeah.
Not the answer I want.
Right.
What's the actual answer?
Yes.
And then let's deal with it. Because again, I'm linear, fact-based only. That's all I can freaking process.
Yeah, but you're special in that way. I remember one time we were training and we found something.
Emotional?
Yes. Yeah. And I saw your the windows light up, and I thought to myself, what do I do? And because I didn't want you to back out of it, and I just saw your eyes narrow a little. I'm like, okay. I knew right then you were going in it. Like, you weren't going to even make me, I didn't have to do anything. You were going right into it. And then you started saying some things, and I was like, wow. Like.
Was it the last time where I started telling myself to stop it? Was that it?
Yeah, and you had the little girl voice.
Yes, a little stop it. It's amazing what.
Good Lord.
It was heavy. Yeah. I didn't expect it. It took me totally off guard. Had no idea that was what was going to happen in a just regular workout day.
Yeah.
It was not anything particularly special. There was nothing happening. We didn't open the chakras.
Nope.
There was no tuning fork involved.
No sage burning.
But the thing is, if you're open, if you remain open, right, and you listen and you pay attention, a pain in your body, in my opinion, or at least in my experience, is trapped emotion most of the time. Limitations, dead parts in your body is just trapped emotion. I still have the freaking dead part with the sit-ups where there's just one thing, I just can't do it. It makes me so angry.
Smaller and smaller though.
It's smaller and smaller.
Yes.
But it's emotion, and I don't even know what that is. I don't even know what it's connected to. But it doesn't really matter. At a certain point, when it's been there so long, I don't think it knows what it's connected to
Nope.
all the time. It's just connected.
Yes.
And when you work out with someone like you, it gets dislodged.
Yes.
Yeah, because the shit we do is so freaking precise.
Thank you.
And small, right?
Yes.
It's like you're working the smallest muscle in your pinky toe. And you're like, how do you even get to that? The shit we were doing today, Mykel, we got in the car and we talked about whatever it was we were doing on the ground where our legs were all twisted up, we're flopping over, and all three of us were like, I don't even know what that was. I mean, I don't even know how we did it. How do we even get in it or out of it? It was so complicated. And at the same time, it was to get to like this one upper nether region next to the left quad, that's part of your pinky toe. And we're like, oh my God, I don't even know. Just tell me what to do. I feel like all three of us just go with it.
But what's beautiful about it was you all stayed in it, like until we found it.
It was hard.
It was interesting watching
how we processed it.
How you guarded it.
So tell me, break it down. What did Sandy do to guard it?
Well, Sandy pretended not to understand any English terms I was speaking. She just quit at one point. She just looked over, and if she had not seen the both of you still moving, she would have been cool standing there and whatever she was doing.
Sandy's like, so funny. I think sometimes she goes, I have no idea what he's saying.
I'm none. I just, you don't either, right? But you were moving. Yeah. And she was like, okay, let me quiet myself down and try this again.
Right.
So like, once Sandy accepts the fact that she can do it, she's going to get it.
Yeah, she does.
But if there's an out.
Yeah. She's so funny. She's hilarious. She is one of the funniest people on the planet.
She's really great energy too.
She does. She is a criminal, I think, in the best. I mean that in the best way.
Yes.
She is a criminal. So is Kat a little bit. I've been hanging out with them so much lately to Vietnam. I realize how much they're looking for like the angle.
Yes.
I don't ever look for an angle. I want to go right through the middle.
Which is why I say your name the least. I know they think I'm picking on them.
They just think I'm your favorite. And then you just love me.
They're just working angles on me.
That's so funny.
And I'm the angler. So funny. You can't out-angle me. I know all these angles.
Yes,
I got people who are smarter at that.
Yeah.
And they prepare me for them too. And I'm like, no, I'm going to find it.
I didn't think about that in the context of working out, but I guess it applies everywhere,
that's
right?
That's why it works. You're running right at it. I know that. Now, we're just going to figure out how to get it, but you're going to run at it.
That's so funny.
Sandy's going to will and deal with me, and Kat's a hustler. She going to try to hustle me.
I know,
I'm not getting any of that. It's going to look close to it, and if you don't look at it right, it's going to look a lot like what it should do. See how she had it right, looking like it should do, and I put my knee over there. Yeah. Right where it needed to be. And she was like, holy smoke.
Hold on. Yes. And I'm half that. What it does for me is half the time I'm like, I'm dying. How are these people not dying? I'm fucking dying here. And they're not even breathing hard. And then I'll look and they'll go, oh, they're not all the way in it. Okay.
That's right. Exactly.
Okay. So I'm doing it. Okay. So it should be hard.
And then when they get in it, you hear them.
Half the time I go, I must be out of shape. There's no way I'm out of shape. Why am I just struggling? And they're just like, oh, la da da da. That's so funny.
I would take the three of you and battle any three women in the world. I would like to take any, and I'll issue this as a challenge.
Okay.
Any trainer who has three women whose lives consist of the kind of lives you have.
Yeah. And are middle-aged.
You know me, I don't even know your age because I've never asked you.
Well, you know I don't even need Mykel. You know we're the same age just about.
I know. You know I don't do age. You
know
I know.
I feel 25, but.
Good. Then we'll just keep you that age. You know why?
Why?
Because when you look in the mirror, you don't qualify anything you want by going, I'm middle-aged. That's what you say if you don't think you can get what you want, or you say you're satisfied with where you're at. But I don't think anybody is satisfied with where they're at. I think everybody really wants to be at their best. And I think that vision is attainable until it is not. And you haven't tried everything long enough to believe. If you can look at Holly Berry and you can look at all these other middle-aged women who have not given into this concept that they have to be a certain look, like they're middle aged, then what makes them? God has no favor of man. Like we're already getting there. Like we're going to get. Where both of us, like, there's a vision I've had since the first day I met you.
Yeah.
There's a picture I had in my mind.
I don't know. It may be more than I can handle. I may not be.
You're one of the strongest human beings I've ever met in my life.
Well, I am Betty the Bull strong. I'm strong like that. And I am mentally
strong.
strong.
Yes.
I am mentally.
That's where I'm at.
And I'm emotionally strong. Yep. I am very strong like that. Yes. But, a lot of, I think a lot of how you look is also, not a lot. Let me take a lot back. I refract a lot. Some of how you look is genetic. Halle Berry is 5 inches taller than me. I can't help that.
Here's what I'm going to say when people say genetics.
It's true, though, Mykel.
Here's what I'm going to say.
It's true.
Here's what I'm going to say when people say genetics. Why are we qualifying not having what we want by any term?
Well, that's true. Okay.
Why don't we? God is giving you genetics.
Yes.
And he's giving you things. I tell people this all the time. Why don't we stay focused? We put all our energy and thought in what we want.
Yeah.
Like I live my life in a constant state of it's coming. I have it or it's coming. You know what I mean? And
it does.
And it does. Uh-huh. And I don't believe in 5 seconds of just, it's like being at the steakhouse. And I used to tell my wife this all the time. Don't be looking at everybody else's steak. Yours is coming.
Well, we used to have that saying at our house. It's called run your own race.
Run your own race.
You run your own race.
Do people who don't run track understand what that term means? Run your own race?
I don't know. I never ran track, but I know what it means. It means you run your race. You beat your best time. You do your best work. And you don't worry about where anybody else on the track is.
Why is that absolutely necessary?
Because if you are focused on where somebody else is, you're not focused on yourself. So you can't optimize yourself. You're too distracted by watching everybody else. And it also involves envy.
That's actually extremely right.
Yeah.
And in simple terms, it slows you down. The minute you look somewhere else, you're slower. You won't win. You glance back just to see, but just that out of technique, out of form movement, that guy blows by you. Like, so what, they come out the gate fast.
Right. No, you can't.
We know what their time is. They teeter at the end.
Yeah.
Look at Usain Bolt. Worst starter in the history of track. Just pull up any of his races.
Yeah.
6th place, 5th, 4th. But then around that 40, very quickly, he goes from 4th to 1st. And then around that last 20, it's like, now he's smiling and taking pictures and lightning bolting. And it's just like he runs his own race.
Runs his own race.
Normally they say you lose the race in the start.
All right.
He proved that that's not true. Mm-hmm. If you run your own race, there's winning coming. Winning.
Well, you run your own race.
Absolutely.
For sure.
Yes. And I think that therefore I can only be qualified as a winner because I'm the one handing out the trophy.
Yeah, right.
To myself. I just, I think that people choose to lower their standard because then it makes it easier for them to accept not reaching it. But I think that if they just held on to their standard, there'd be no not reaching.
Right.
It may not come as fast as you want it.
Right.
It's like getting big is easy, but losing weight is hard. People spend 3 years getting big, and then they want to spend 6 months and they want to be right back where they were. Who doesn't want that?
Right.
But the reality is, you gave yourself all that time to gain all that weight?
Yeah.
Why don't you give yourself the same grace to lose it?
Yes, it's true.
Why are we now looking for like starvation techniques and this and that and that? Right. Like, it's like, no. You put it on 1 pound at a time, brick by brick. You built it.
Yep.
Let's take this thing down, brick by brick.
Brick by brick.
Because if we do that, you never have to worry about it coming back.
Yeah, it's gone.
Because you have changed your whole setup.
Right.
And you won't long for it. But when you starve yourself out, when you create quick fixes, all you do is wish you were what you were. All you do is wish for that old life again.
Well, then you're actually not in present time, are you?
No.
You're not in present. You're in the past or the future.
Yeah.
In the present, and what comes with past or future, a lot of anxiety and worry.
Ego.
And ego, yeah. Ego.
People look back in the past because it complements their ego.
Yeah.
Well,
maybe not.
Well, most of those people look into the future. If you look back there and you don't like that, then say, come see me in 6 months. I'm seeing you right now.
Exactly. But they're not present time.
No.
They're present today.
No.
So how long you been acting? And when did you start acting?
I was 2.
2?
Yeah. My mother was a drama teacher. And
shut up. How do I not know that? Your mother was a drama teacher?
Yes. She used to have drama classes going on in my living room.
She did not.
Yes.
I didn't know this.
When I was 2 years old, I used to sit on the couch and watch all these people perform tremendous work.
How amazing is your mother?
She's also...
I mean, I've heard so many stories over the years about your mother, and I've actually never really been introduced to her, just saying. I've waved at her in the driveway.
You know how them Georgian women is.
Well, I'm a Georgia woman too.
Yeah, but that generation's like
she's not interested in meeting me.
No,
is that what you're saying?
She's interested in meeting you.
Okay.
It's just she don't like nobody in her business, and she don't want to be in nobody's business, and she wants you to mind your own business. You understand what I'm saying? So like, she adores you guys because you guys have done nothing but bring love and joy into my life. So
100%. We love you. We love you. You are like family. You're my family.
I feel it.
You are. There's people in your life that you meet and you immediately go, family. That happened to me. When I found out you were from Cedartown, I went, it's over. It's over.
I actually said the same thing.
Really?
I said, oh, she knows where Cedartown is? And they were like, yeah. I was like, I'm going to love this woman.
Yeah.
I'm going to love this woman.
Immediately. I was like, I'm done. It's done. I'm done. He's like every guy I grew up with. This is like being with somebody I grew up with.
Yeah.
I love it.
You know the staples. You're hardworking, non-complaining.
Yes.
Like built by the real stuff.
Yes.
Don't seek don't want nobody to be at an advantage or disadvantage. Just want to be.
Yep.
And
yell without
grateful.
Yelling.
Yell without yelling. Spirited.
Passionate.
Very passionate.
Yes.
Which they didn't tell me how passionate you were. It's funny.
That's because you know what happened? Here's what happened. I think this is an interesting thing. I kept some of my southernness under wraps a little bit because there's no one out here that understands it. And so when you move into a new culture, just like I'm sure when you are back home, when I'm back home, I act differently than I act here because the culture is different, right? So I come out here and I kind of sort of clean up my act a little bit. I'm not super redneck. I don't guess I'm really super redneck with you, but there's definitely parts of my personality that didn't have a place at elementary school or didn't have a place even with Sandy. And then when I started working out with you and spending time with you, that portion of who I was I gave it permission to come out, right?
Yes. And I'm glad you did because
it's such a part of who I am. I really, really
so freeing.
Love who I am. And I always did. I was never embarrassed or ashamed of it.
Never.
But I was like, they won't get it. And I don't want something that I love so much to not be understood. Does that make sense?
Yeah,
I don't need to explain
they're going to think you're yelling at them.
Exactly.
And you're being passionate.
And I'm just
now you're in an argument. It's like you're always yelling. And
Not yelling. It's not yelling. Half the way I talk on this podcast is yelling to them.
Right.
And it's not yelling to me.
No.
I talk really passionately and I'm loud. And
if you're more passionate about something than the other person, you're really loud.
100%. You got to stop yelling.
Like you're really yelling.
Not fucking yelling. Can you just get a life and not think I'm yelling? That's what I think to myself.
Well, I don't care what you call it. This little light of mine.
I'm going to let it shine.
I'm going to let it shine.
It's so true.
Hide it under a bushel?
Yes.
No, I'm going to let it shine.
Yes. So I think in working with you, that little part of me had just been asleep.
It's wide awake now, though.
It's wide awake now.
Yes, ma'am.
And I think I'm so happy for it because there's so much, there's so much color from being from the South. It's not, black, white, or gray. There's all these shades of all different colors and the personalities in my personality that a lot of it I just kind of keep quiet because I didn't want to be, here's why. When I moved from my daddy's house to Atlanta, I got bullied a lot and I got called hillbilly a lot. And hillbilly I am not. I am a redneck, but there is a difference between being a hillbilly and it's a huge difference.
Yeah.
And it upset me that these kids didn't understand something they had no ability to understand in the first place. So as an adult looking back, I realized I was upset at something. I was upset because I was being bullied for one part, but they were calling me hillbilly because they don't really know what that means.
No, ma'am.
And so for me to start just being all out Southern here in LA, there are assumptions that go along with that.
Yes, ma'am.
And that I don't need to correct somebody or explain something to somebody. And so until I just left it dormant. And then I started working out with you and I was like, he knows exactly everything I'm about to do. So I'm just going to be it and just not worry about it. And then it started bleeding into my regular life because now I have all these established friends that I've known for 10, 15 years and they know who I really am.
Yes, ma'am.
So then it's okay. But in the beginning, when you're building these friends and building people here, I just kind of kept it a little quiet. I kept it a little subtle, a little more subtle, not with Bert. Bert's always seen this redneck part.
Oh, yeah.
Always.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, he showed up. We just talked about this on this podcast. The first time he met my dad, my dad goes, nice to meet you, boy. You got yourself the best frog gigger around. And he was like, what? And he's like, what? And he's like, yeah, boy, you put her in a boat. She can get you some frogs. She get you some frogs. You like frog legs? And Bert's like, where the fuck are we? I was like, you don't get much more redneck than that.
No, ma'am.
So if you see that and you're good with that, then you're good with me being that because that's where I came from, right?
Oh, yeah.
And
it's beautiful because I also come from a place in the South where redneck can be used to define a particular type of human being that could really make me
a racist
alert.
Yeah, someone. Yes, I understand that. Yeah,
and
there's a lot of racism in the South, legit, completely, totally.
Absolutely, and that's the thing. People. It's funny. They talk about the South in a negative way, and we talk about the North in such a positive way.
Mm-hmm.
But the North, they got their same quirks.
100%.
The only real difference in the South, people go, well, you go down south, you get to meet real people. It's true. Because there's no need to put it on.
Right.
There's poverty everywhere. Like you can see people struggling. But in LA, they've compartmentalized it. So yeah, you have to be. I remember so here's an idea. Everybody wants to talk about college these days and why you shouldn't. You don't need to go and you can self-educate and all these brilliant men. But I'll say this: I asked my dad because I was onto this before there. I needed memes to tell me. And I said to my father, I said, why am I going to finish school in Loyola? Why? It's not what I want to do. And he said, so when you walk in a room and they know you've graduated from this Jesuit institution, the conversation starts with some respect. So now you can be as ignorant as you want. You can be whatever you are, but they have to include highly educated.
Wow.
And that's why I kept my loud mouth. Because I was like, go on and ask me.
Yeah, right.
I got my paperwork. It's like when you first get your insurance and the police pull you over and they're like, you got your proof of insurance? You're like, got it right here. Because you've been driving 3 years without it. It's like, got my paperwork in. So go ahead and ask me.
You go on.
And that made a lot of sense to me. It's like you have to prove in this world to yourself that you can do a lot of things you don't think are necessary and do them well. And you can do a lot of things other people have told you need to do and do them well. So you can get to do the things you want to do and were built to do and do them exceptionally.
Right.
And once he told me that, I was like, calculus, kill it.
Let's do it.
and it made the complete sense to me.
Yeah.
And I rolled through 4 years. High GPA, didn't pay a penny, got out, looked at my father and said, you know I'm leaving, right? Got to go now.
Got to go.
Got to go now.
Where'd you go?
Here.
No way. Right out of college?
Well, my wife was in law school.
Uh-huh.
And I waited for her to get her JD. Then we rolled.
Got it.
But I knew very quickly that you have to be careful in the conversations you're in and completely opening yourself up, because here, you're much more likely to be judged and
Yeah.
quickly. And then once they decide who you are, it's hard for them to back up off of it.
You are right. Because even when you're in back east, I think, as I lived in New York for 4 years, and their understanding of the South was very different than it is here. People from the South.
Yeah.
And yeah, you're right. Here, people, also there's a difference between like white collar people. White collar people size you up by that shit right away. And so if you're talking to somebody who has a white collar background and you start talking like a redneck, they have made decisions.
Yes, ma'am.
Right away.
Yep.
And I don't want anybody to decide who I am till I've shown it to them.
Exactly.
Right? That needs to be in my control.
Yes.
Because I get to control who I am. And you can make judgments all day long, but I don't like, I've always had a problem with being misunderstood. I don't like being misunderstood. I'm so linear. And I know it happens, and that happens in life. But if someone really misrepresents me in their brain, it really bothers me. It bothers me a lot because I'm a pretty straight shooter. So in order to keep that not complicated until recently, I just kept myself much more subtle in my southernness.
So my dad used to say, don't say nothing until you got something to say.
Well, yeah, that's true too.
Because people are going to take that nothing.
Yes.
And that's how they're going to define you.
That's right. Because people do define you really quick.
Very quickly.
Yeah.
Just to make themselves feel safe.
Yes, so they can compartmentalize you and feel you're right, feel safe.
Exactly.
Human race is crazy, isn't it?
I show up with my jumper on, my ski hat. You should, people who don't know me, I know it's tough. I'm training and rehabilitating surgeons and heads of and because I don't have a clipboard, no white jacket, I'm gonna be me.
Yeah.
It takes a second for people to be like, okay, I'm gonna let this guy tell me what's to.
Well, I didn't take me any time. I just started. I was like, let's do it.
But you country though.
Is that what it is?
Mm-hmm. You got Southern charm to you. So like, you kind of know.
I don't care what you look like. I mean, I wouldn't respect you if you were really overweight or something as a trainer.
Yeah, that's the problem.
As a trainer, really other weight in life is your own business. But I don't know that I would go to a trainer if you didn't look like a trainer, like in your physicality.
I don't think you should go to a trainer. You wouldn't go to like, it just doesn't make any sense.
No, it doesn't.
I want my mechanic to be highly
to
skilled.
not drive a hoopty.
Yeah, he can't. Like that was. Listen, this is why you didn't judge me. In the South, your mechanic might be under a tree.
Yes, totally.
He might just have neighborhood cars parked in the front yard.
Completely.
And
that's my daddy.
Yeah, exactly. So you've seen outstanding. You've seen excellence.
Yes.
Look like Farmer John.
Totally. But you don't look like Farmer John. You don't think you look like Farmer John.
I don't think I look like Farmer John, but
no,
I don't look like your normal,
Now, listen, I think you may not give yourself enough credit. You are very handsome.
Well, thank you.
You look very fit. You are warm and inviting and loving and caring. And all those things wouldn't make me think, does he know what he's doing? That would make me think, okay, yeah, this guy knows what he's doing. That's what that would make me think. You really go up against people who doubt?
Oh, man.
Really?
It's extraordinary, but I understand because even though you don't see me, you see me, they don't see me.
What do you think they see?
They see what they see. They see what they think I was supposed to be. Whoever referred them to me, because it's normally through referral, they've had a physical situation they could not solve with all their money.
Yeah.
So they find me.
Yeah.
And because the person that has referred them to me is dear to me, I can't say no.
Yeah.
And then they come and it's just a lot because I don't have a clipboard. There's no sign. You can't find me there's no website.
Yeah.
I'm not doing any of that.
Well, that's true. Yeah, you're right.
Don't need any of it.
You don't market yourself.
Don't market myself.
We work out in your garage, which
Yes.
I love. But I can see, okay, I see what you mean.
And then so.
It's not slick.
It's not slick.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to get into a slick conversation.
No.
They love the slick conversations. I had a nurse once who wanted to tell me all the muscles that I was working every time she was wanting to give me an anatomy exam. So what I did was I twisted her brain around so many different concepts she couldn't name all the muscles. And I was like, oh, you're quiet today. She's like, you're just doing so many things.
Oh my goodness.
I said, so are we done? Because I wanted to stop the game of like, what muscle is this? Can we stop that?
Right.
But I know that their behavior speaks way louder than their words. Totally. You're standing in front of my garage.
Yeah.
You work at such and such hospital.
Yeah.
You're the head of that department.
Yeah.
You skipped all those guys. You've been there 40 years. You skipped all those people. You had to go through a lot of people just right down the street, right down the hallway. And you came all the way to my garage.
Yep.
So say what you want. You're sitting down like, I'm going to be difficult, but I'm here.
I don't think you're difficult. Oh, you're talking about they're going to be difficult.
Yeah, they tell me they're going to be difficult by the way that they've decided how much they're going to let me impact.
Such a waste of time, right?
Waste of time.
What bothers me about that is that why are you there?
Exactly.
If you don't want to change, then what are you doing? You're wasting your money.
Tell you, the people
and you waste another person's time.
People love their loser. They love their loser. They've held on to that guy or that
inner
girl.
Loser.
The inner loser it's a love fest.
But why? It's stupid. It's so stupid. It's such a waste of time.
What I find out is that they think it's going to comfort them if this goes bad. So they don't get all the way in. So because the loser's always like, well, I told you already. You went everywhere. It can't be fixed.
Right.
But I'm like,
well,
then what do you have to lose?
So let's go back to your acting.
Okay.
Since you were 2?
2.
So what was your first job, like where you got paid?
It was a drug commercial I actually bought half my Porsche with it. It was a drug commercial I don't even remember what they were hawking, but I got to dance with this beautiful woman under the moonlight, under the sunlight as it was going down. And I was like, it was one of them good ones too, like,
yeah,
one of them things they tell you gotta have.
Yeah.
And I did it for a day. And I was like, oh man, that wasn't long enough. And then they started playing that thing, and they played that thing, and they played that thing, and they played that thing. And I immediately said to my mother, well, I don't need any of the money I make from it because I'm living well with the money I'm making already.
Right.
So I'm just going to put it all up.
So you just saved it?
And then they stopped running it, and I went and saw what I had, and I was like, oh, I was going to get a Mustang because I thought my dream was a 74 Porsche 911S. And God, when you do that stuff, then God does his thing. Like, then my mother was like, I'll meet you halfway.
Aww.
And then I found a guy who had it in his garage. And his wife was like, it's time for it to go. And this guy literally made me come to his house.
Yeah.
And he drove me around for like weeks. I'm like, dude, I'm trying to, are you going to sell me the car?
Right.
Or not? But he wanted to make sure the car was going to somebody that would love it.
Yeah.
And he was a lawyer. He didn't need a lot of money.
Right.
So he's like, if you want this car for this rate, I need to make sure. Waited till it rained, made me come out there, showed me how to drive it in the rain. Never let me drive it. And like 3 weeks into this courtship, I said to my wife, my mom, I had no wife at that time. I said, Mom, this man is never going to give me this car. Like, he's just dragging me. Every time I go, I come with all the money. And then one day I came, it was raining. I'm like, going for another ride? He's like, yeah, I think this time you can go without me.
Oh, break my heart. That's a great story. Same Porsche you still have?
Same Porsche I still have.
That's amazing. It's a beautiful car.
I'm going to die in it.
You can be buried in it.
I told my son, I might not leave you nothing else, player.
Just that car.
My baby right here.
And what is it? A 74, you said?
Yep.
74 911
SC.
That's beautiful. It's a beautiful car. It's really nice. So that was your first paid job?
That's why I say go get it on the front.
Yeah. Oh.
To remind me
To go get it.
to go get it. Because I said
Right.
I was going to get it once I got it.
Right. And how many films have you made on your own?
8.
8.
Yes.
What are they? I know the Gods 2, Paper Tigers, and Octopus Pot. What else?
I didn't make Paper Tigers. I had the
Oh, you didn't make
pleasure
Paper
of being
Tigers?
cast in it.
So sorry.
That's okay. No, I wish somebody did think I made that movie. I'm very proud of Paper Tigers. There's Two Wolves.
Two Wolves is the
Yes.
name of one? Okay, so
Exceptional.
the Gods 2, Octopus Pot, Two Wolves.
Yes.
That's 4.
Then I have my one called Off the Grid and another one called Anonymous. And Off the Grid and Anonymous, it was amazing. I did 33 web series, but what I did was I wrote a full script, and I was like, I can't afford to do it. So I broke it up into like these mini web series because that was what was popping at the time.
Yep.
And then my distributor was like, let me see your web series. And then he realized I basically just continued. He's like, I'm going to pull your intros off and let's put it together and see what we have. And pulled it together. It was an hour and 45-minute movie. He's
amazing.
Like, well, see how if you just do, it just comes.
Yeah.
Anonymous. I've been fortunate. God has given me an eye for like talented people. So I meet these people who are super talented, sent to this city to do this thing, and they're just not getting breaks, acting class or wherever. And once I see someone's talented, and I want to be part of the light,
right,
that introduces the world to them. So I've had that happen a couple of times, and that's one of the most beautiful things in the world because like I watch them being told things like your accent is going to you like fix this and fix that and change this, and I changed all that mentality. They're like, that's a strength that makes you unique.
Totally.
We're not going to get rid of that. We're going to show them.
Yeah.
Like it's sexy when James Bond's girls do it, but it's not when they want you to what? Sell what? When they want you to do what?
Right.
It's a limited vision. So like I try to empower artists. And I've been fortunate in that they've then empowered me. And like,
well, it's impressive that you have that much under your belt that you have just created and done yourself. The thing about Hollywood or about movie making or that creativity in the genre of filmmaking is that people just wait.
Yeah.
And you didn't wait.
No, ma'am.
You just went, let's do it. Let's do it. Let's just fucking do it. It's so admirable. It's something I know that you're proud of, but you really should be proud of because it's unusual. It's not typical in Hollywood for someone like you. You're really living such an authentic life from outside looking in. It seems like you're
pretty inside.
I am pretty inside, but I'm not in your house. I don't go in your house and hang out with you.
In my house.
I don't know your mama.
No,
so
you don't know my mama. That's true. I don't know my mama.
On the inside.
She tell me I tell her, where you going? She go see a man about a mule. I don't know my mama.
Exactly, right?
She know what I want. I didn't even know her real name till the mail came. And I was like, Mom, they looking for somebody named Gussie. She said, give me my
What did you think her name was?
Yvonne.
Well, where did Yvonne come from?
That's
if her name's
been her
Gussie.
name. Gussie Yvonne Jenkins.
Oh, well,
she dropped the Gussie off when she became Hollywood. My whole life, I thought her name was Yvonne until I looked at the mail and I was trying to give her mail back to him. There's no Gussie.
Funny.
And she was like,
it's because she's from the South.
Yeah.
You know what my name is? Kelly Leanne Kemp.
Exactly.
Gussie, Yvonne
Jenkins.
So yeah.
Well, it's Catherine actually. Gussie Yvonne Catherine. And
Catherine?
Yeah, my dad's name was Jenkins.
That's funny.
Clyde Elbert Jenkins.
It's just amazing. I'm amazed at what you get done. Do you sleep?
No.
How much do you sleep?
Like 4 hours.
Yeah, that's not enough. For me, that's not enough. But it's impressive. What do you do after we leave? How long do you train people? Do you start at like 6 a.m. and go to 2?
Start at like 4:30 a.m.
You start at 4:30? Why? That's insane. Who comes at 4:30 in the morning?
Well, people like my one guy owns his own shop. He's like my guy. He has to be there to open the shop and get it ready at 6.
Sucks for him. That's terrible. You start at 4:30 in the morning?
Yes.
I don't got that kind of shit. I'm a late night girl. I'd train somebody at 2 a.m. and sleep till 9. That's what I would do.
Well, actually, I think you do it. You do what you're passionate about.
For
the
sure.
whole beauty of it is like, it's not work to me. This is the key.
Yeah,
I'm not exhausted
totally
when I get home because I love everything I do.
Right.
So like when I go on vacation, I'm exhausted.
Yeah.
Like my wife's like, we're going on vacation. And I'm like, I don't want to. I don't want to vacate my life.
Right.
I spent my whole life building it. She needs to vacate her life.
Right.
Because she don't really like, it's not a love affair.
It's not as fulfilling as yours is for you. Yes.
So she needs a vacation.
Yeah.
Well, when we vacate for her, we vacate what I love.
Right.
Not that I don't love her and I don't enjoy vacations.
I know what you mean.
But I don't like vacations because I've made my life a vacation.
Right.
And that's the beauty. 4:30 is easy because my man's is coming through.
Right.
And her girlfriend's coming at Ashley and I'm training them. And then by 6 in normal hours, I got my other man's coming through.
Right.
That's my guy. And he's bringing 2 of his sons and his wife. Got to hit all 4 of them. And then at 7, you know what I mean? It's like, that's one of my volleyball players. That's one of my athletes. Oh man, I got some fire stuff for them today we ain't never done before. And then it drops quite So like I go 4:30 to 5, and then I might have someone at 8:20 that night.
4:30 to 5? Oh my God.
Yes. But the beauty of it is
Yeah.
you might go to Vietnam.
Yes.
Then there goes an hour I can write.
Yeah.
There goes 2 hours. So when my athletes might be in Prague, might be in Paris, might be in, there goes 3-4 hours. Like it opens itself up for me to feed both loves.
Yeah.
And then there's no like.
Yeah. You know what I like about my life is I'm surrounded with people who don't live conventional lives and are fulfilled in what they do. I just thought about that right now. I'm surrounded by that off the beaten path. My rules are the rules. I'm married to it. And I think almost all my friends, I have one friend that's a lawyer. That's pretty conventional job. A friend that's a teacher, another but they love their job. But that's amazing.
Yeah, I want to add to that. You're not surrounded. You picked us to surround yourself.
Yes.
You created that community.
Well, yeah, for myself. But these people created you created yourself.
Yes.
You're in my community. But it's interesting to make that observation that is what I've built for myself.
Exactly.
Yes, is that I've surrounded myself with people who don't follow the rules.
Yes.
I'm the biggest rule follower ever. But I didn't follow the rules either, by the way.
No,
I don't have a college degree.
Nope.
I never graduated from college.
Nope.
I went from one college to the other.
Yeah.
I moved to New York City. I'd never been there. I just showed up. Yes, ma'am. Oh, hey, Rafi. We're recording something.
How you doing, Rafi?
That's okay. I can't talk right now. Okay, thank you. Sorry. Yeah, as much as I'm linear and fact-based, I never have really followed the rules either.
Nope.
Not really. An interesting observation.
And they say, and it is written, that you're a product of your environment. And people don't really get, your environment isn't the one you're thrown in.
Right.
It's the one you've entertained.
Right.
You get yourself out of situations you don't want to be in all the time. So when they're like, well, I grew up in the hood, they got doctors that come out the hood, bruh. They got celebrities, rap stars come out the hood, bruh.
Yeah.
But you like the hood life. That's different.
Right.
Now you want to surround yourself by these ballers and these dope dealers and then wonder why you in and out of penitentiary. Like, you create within whatever it is what you are.
Yeah.
And you when you have the mental capacity to understand that, remove the garbage.
Totally.
Take the garbage out. It's Wednesday. Put it on the curb.
Yeah.
Somebody else will pick it up.
Yes.
And
true.
they can have it.
Yes.
People just want to lay down.
But you know what's scary about that, right? Is the devil you know versus the devil you don't.
Uh-huh.
And the devil you don't know can be real lonely and scary.
Yeah.
And it can be painful sometimes. But the other side of it is what you're going for. So you have to trust You have to have faith. You have to trust in the process that everybody who went before you into this unknown territory also was lonely, also was afraid, and also had no idea what they were doing half the time, or even if they did, may not have known if it was going to work out.
Yes.
So you're actually not alone.
No.
But it feels like you are.
And sometimes you want to feel like you are because it allows you to feel like you're special.
Sometimes, yeah.
But the truth of it is,
you're not.
You're not.
You're never alone.
You're never.
You're never alone if you have faith, for one.
Yes.
But you're also not alone, I think, if you open yourself up to not being alone. Someone will show up right away.
I agree.
They show up right away.
If your eyes are open where you can see them.
Yes.
If they're there.
Yeah.
Yes.
You know, ask and you shall receive. Seek and you shall find, right?
Big.
That's the key to everything.
Big.
You don't live life in a closet.
No.
You got to seek something and then you'll find it. You ask. When you ask, you're also opening yourself to receive it, right? If you never asked for it, then how in the world are you going to receive it? You have to ask for whatever it is you want. Friendship, prosperity, art to be in your life. Love, yes. A trainer who fixes my back that's hurting, which hasn't hurt now in a long time. But you have to ask for that stuff. And I think people get scared to ask because they're afraid not to receive. But sometimes, it's really interesting. I was talking to my dad about this the other day. So I just, as you know, I just produced my first stand-up special that wasn't Bert's, right? It was for Shane Torres, and I love him to pieces. And I was telling my dad about it. And I said to Daddy, when I left for New York City, this wasn't in the universe I was in. This was never, there was no part of me that was even interested in stand-up comedy in any capacity. I left New York wanting to be an actor and studied that and tried that and went, nah, not for me. Writing's better for me. And did that and tried that and had success at that. And then God went, guess what? You're going to be a mom now. So you don't have time for all that shit. You just got to be a mom. And I went, okay, well, when I went to New York City, I had no plans on being a mom. I had no plans of meeting and marrying a stand-up comedian at all. But you know what I always did was I remained open. And I never asked for specific things when I asked from God. I never said, I want that movie role. Never did that. I always said, I want to be prosperous and I want to feel safe and I want to feel good about what I'm doing. And so I think that's why my life has constantly turned over and changed, right?
That's interesting because the Southern Baptists would say, you're not being specific. That's why he doesn't give you what you want.
Exactly. But I don't think that's right. I think if you're asking for that specific, you're telling God what to do.
I agree with that.
And that's how you make him laugh.
Yeah.
Right? You tell him what to do.
Yeah.
What you say is what you want to feel, how you want to be on this planet. Because when you decide how you want to feel and how you want to be, being that full self is the best expression of God that could ever happen. And when you express in that way, you inspire other people to do the same thing.
I agree.
Which isn't that what testifying is? Isn't that what knocking door to door and saying, do you have Jesus Christ in your heart is? Instead, wouldn't it be much better if we all just remained open, accepted what we received and what from God, the gift in the moment, and made that the shiniest, most amazing thing ever because people will go, I want that. What is that? Yes. And what it is faith and surrender and asking for how you want to feel, not specific things. Or for me, that's what it was. I would say, I want to feel valued in this company. That's something that is, you can't set a goal for that. There are no steps to that, but there kind of are if you really think about it. Well, how do I feel valued? Well, I need to take on more responsibility here. But those are decisions you make. But you say to God, I want to feel more valued, and I guarantee you the opportunity for you to take on more responsibility will show up. Right?
Oh, that's interesting. They have a saying, you want courage, God gives you situations where you have to show it. You want strength, He gives you a task that requires you to be strong. He doesn't give you strength. He doesn't give you courage. He gives you the ability to get it yourself. And that's basically, when I hear you say that, that's like, I think the Southern Baptists could learn from that, because the truth of it is, it isn't the specific thing you want. It's the feeling you think you're going to get when you get this specific thing.
That's right.
Because what if you're wrong? What
Right.
if that specific thing, you get it and you don't get the feeling?
That's right.
Now what do you got?
That's right. You got a big shiny turd.
Yeah.
That's all you got. It's a
No
shiny
place
turd.
to flush it.
It looks like something good, but it's not.
Yeah.
It's about the feeling. You asked for the feeling. You asked for the need, right?
Yes.
When I was starving in New York, I was so broke. What I was praying for was financial security. I want to feel financially secure, and I don't even know what that means. But for me, it means not worrying about what I'm eating, not worrying about paying my rent. That's what I could say, that what that feeling meant to me in that moment.
That was conceivable, yeah.
But to ask for financial security forever, in perpetuity, changes as your financial security grows, right?
That's exactly correct.
So you don't say, I want $1 million. Well, that's pretty freaking limited, you know?
Exactly.
You say, I want financial security. Okay, now my prayer changes to, I want financial security, and I want to be able to financially take care of my dad. And I want to be able to leave my kids with enough where they are secure. That's what I want. That's all I want. There's no number on it.
Right.
There's just an intention and a feeling. And then you open up to let that manifest, right?
That's really bigger than you realize. What you just said is people don't really realize how simple it is. Like, the big lie is it's not that easy. No, it's really kind of that easy. You're easily not doing it. Like, it's the same energy.
You're easily not doing
it. So why don't we reverse it and easily do it?
Yeah.
And my mother used to have this mantra in our house: try it. Try God. Like, try him.
Yeah.
Like, pray on it. Well, try him. You haven't even tried him. You just accepted it's not going to happen. And then do everything in your power to make sure you've done your part.
Right.
A girl I used to date, very special girl. I think God brings people in your life. You just got to figure out the reason. And I thought this woman was going to be the girl I married, but actually she was brought into my life to give me a little book.
What was the book?
It's called Checks and Balances.
What?
I'll never forget it. It was brilliant. She gives me this little book. It says Checks and Balances. I'm like, I'm pretty good with numbers. And she's like, just read it. And what it is, and I basically live my life by this. Whenever you give God praise, whenever you take a moment to acknowledge the universe and its unique superness, you put a little bit in your checking account. A little bit. So when you get on your knees to pray, he checks your checking account.
Oh.
When you do acts of generosity and you're like, oh, just God loves you and this and that, it's a deposit. And when there's no deposit, you can't have $5 worth of generosity and goodness in the world and ask for $1 million blessing.
Right.
So the key is, when you live a blessed life, well, just gratitude instead of attitude, just making sure that you have paid attention to the small things when you ask for that big thing.
Yeah.
And he checks the account.
Yeah, he does.
And when that account got it in there, it's a small wish.
Yeah.
And people live hard without gratitude, without love, without praise, and then want to ask to be pulled out of it. That's not the way it works. Like, you're out of it already.
Right.
You just have to start acting on the things you can do.
Yeah.
No one's asking you to do. People think giving is $100,000 to the National Negro College Fund. That's not giving. That's a donation.
Right.
You donated.
Yes, exactly.
You didn't gave nothing. Giving is if you go down there to the school and give your time to those kids in the tutorial program.
Right.
Help them get into those schools. Like, I figured that out very quickly. It's in the giving and generosity of you and the way you live your life and how you impact others that comes back. My mother says, if you're in a rut, give your way out. That's the hardest thing for people to conceive. Like, I ain't got nothing but $5. That's how you multiply it.
Right.
Like, you don't run out in the street and find somebody and throw your money at them.
Right.
You You see need where you see it.
It's service.
It's service.
That's something
That's
that
a
is
great
in the
word.
Southern Baptist Church.
Absolutely.
Is service. Your life should be of service. I heard that a million times in church. Your life is of service to God, really. And in service, that's what they said in the church. But I applied that to, I've been running a Girl Scout troop for 11 years.
Yes.
That is service. And that service fulfills me 1,000-fold.
At the highest level.
The 1,000-fold. I love that service. I feel like this podcast is a service. Maybe not to everybody and maybe not every episode, but there's stuff in almost every episode that's of service. And I am of service to this business that Bert has built, we have built together, because comedy is a service. I mean, it's a service to make people laugh.
Look at the lives it's changed.
It's amazing. And if you can be service focused in your life, you'll find so much comes back to you and your heart is so full. It's so full. And it's not hard, is it? You know what service is? It's helping an old lady put her groceries in the trunk.
Right.
That's it.
But that's not, see, the problem is that people have their concept of service and that's too small. They don't see that as an act of generosity. They don't see that as an act of love. They're very wrong.
They're wrong.
And I just want to say this about you, because I think that people think once you've had some success that you don't understand their issues. You don't understand their problems. That's why you can talk about giving and being of service, because it's easy for you. You have. What they don't know is when you didn't have, you were this person.
That's right. I've always given.
And now that you're in a moment of favor, you're still LA. You're still Leanne. Like, in that, I want to say to people, like, I used to have this knock myself, like, of course this guy, like, it's nothing to him. But no one gives any credit to, like, the building of anything. Like, how you got what you got. And we just assume that because you have something, no matter how big or small it is, you're different. Mm-hmm. And you're not. You're as simple. If I were to put a dollar amount, if I'd have met you and put a dollar amount to how much you had in the bank, it would start with a 0 and it end with 1.
Right.
Because you carry yourself and in everything you do without any consideration of like that. It's the last thing you think about, like money. And I think that people get it backwards. You can take anything away from anyone, and what you have is still that very enriched, very endowed. People who aren't afraid of change usually built whatever they have and know they can build it again. Like, that's the beauty of, like, self-made things. Like when you make yourself, when you decide yourself, I'm not doing it that way. I'm doing this. And you're satisfied with the $5 a week. And then it's $20 a week. And then it's $50 a week. And all of a sudden it's $5,000 and then $50,000. That amount doesn't change anything but the amount of people you can bless and the amount of work you're going to have to do. But you, having had to watch it, aren't afraid to lose it, which people like take chances. Yeah, take the chance because you know what 0 feels like. What are you scared of? This is what I don't understand. Like, why are you scared to, like, do this thing you keep quietly inside your heart and mind?
Yeah.
You already know what 0 is. You had 0. You had less than 0.
Nowhere but up, right?
Nowhere but up.
But what you said is really interesting, because if you built it once, you can build it again. That's very true. And I don't think people think like that. They're too scared to start because they're too scared to lose. And losing is part of life. And losing is where the lesson is. Yeah. That's where you learn everything, is where you screwed it up and screwed it up bad. That's where you lose it. But the thing about life and building your life is the most important thing is your intrinsic value. And that is something that is built that has nothing to do with money. It has everything to do with hard work and creativity and grit. Guts and pounding the pavement, and that intrinsic value of knowing who you are and what you deserve, whether you have what you feel you deserve or not, but knowing you deserve health, happiness, friendship, love, fill in the blank is something that nobody can take away from you. If you build your life on extrinsic things, which is these curtains in my car, and then that anybody can take that away, but no one can take away my intrinsic value. Not one person. I don't care who they are. It's mine. And nobody can take it. And that's what the focus of everyone's life should be, is building intrinsic value. And that intrinsic value can be built working at Target. You don't fucking have to build an empire to build intrinsic value. You show up to your job on time, do the best job you can do, and be happy at it. And that's how you build intrinsic value. You're given a challenge, you overcome it, and it doesn't have to happen in this big Hollywood scale that people see Bert's life or my life and think that that's what it is. The way that I learned how to build that was when I was a child. You learn it in sports. You learn it from your parents if your parents know what they're doing. And you learn it at school. You know, you work hard on a project, you get an A for it. It's a lot more than just what you learned in that project. It's the hard work that builds that intrinsic value that cannot be taken from you. No shame, no bad moment of bad judgment. There's nothing that could take that away from you. To me, that's more value than any dollar you got in the bank. Right?
I was just with a young lady I'm training. She's doing all right by most people's standards. And she lost a ring that was very expensive, and she lost this and that. And they couldn't get her off. She went to a restaurant, and she went to the bathroom, and they had to go get her off the toilet. She was having an anxiety attack.
Uh-oh.
And she came to see me, and she was telling me about it. And I said, no gratitude, all attitude. And she said, what do you mean? I was sitting at a restaurant talking to my friend. I said, but you weren't there talking to your friend. Because if you were there talking to your friend, truly taking her in, the gratitude of having someone and a fine dinner and a good meal most people can't afford, and sitting across from this great person in this moment where you're alive to receive them and give them you, would have crossed your mind before you went to the bathroom and thought about all your problems that are all physical related, my ring, money, checks, this. And now you can't get off the toilet. Now you ruined the dinner. They had to rush you to the hospital, and you who don't want to take no pills. Now they want to give you something for your anxiety. And I said, and the only thing you needed to be reminded of is you lack grace.
Grace and gratitude, baby.
And she was like, you're right. And I said to myself, look how healthy you are.
Yeah.
Go ask Steve Jobs what his health was worth.
Right. It's truth.
Look at you.
Yeah.
And you're in the bathroom and can't get off the toilet because you're full of shit. That's why. And we talked about it. And when she left, she said, that may have been the best training session you've given me.
Aww.
That from a woman who was diagnosed with osteoporosis, and we got off that medicine. That's diagnosed with all these problems because she was fragile and basically spoiled. But underneath her was an immigrant that had grinded her way to this moment.
Right.
That scarcity was still real to her.
Right.
But that grind. And I was like, have you forgotten?
Right.
You've forgotten. You don't have anybody around you to remind you.
Right.
You couldn't afford sandals. And now, because you dropped your ring down the toilet,
We're
you have an anxiety attack?
Right.
And she laughed. And she called me afterwards and she said, it's funny, but just that quick, I'm over it.
Right.
Just that quick, I'm back on track.
Just need to be reminded.
Just need to be
because
reminded.
that intrinsic value was still there.
Because that intrinsic value she built was
still there.
And she had messed around, not checked the right account.
Yes.
I love that that's what I was going to say, that intrinsic value, that investment in self.
Yes.
They can't empty your account. No bank can close that.
Nope.
No, you don't need nobody to give you a stimulus package. You stimulate yourself like you've invested in you. And
you know what it makes me feel like? It makes me feel like I feel like nanny boo. That's what it makes me feel like. Nanny.
Yeah,
you can't catch me.
You can't catch me. You can't get it. It's a beautiful thing.
It is.
And if they only knew you, they know how much that's true. Like, you live your life. Like, I'm so far ahead of it, you can't catch me no more. Like, you can't hurt me with things.
Yeah, no, that's just shit. We had a big drama in our business last night, and everybody's all in this hullabaloo about this bullshit. And as soon as we hung up the phone, I said to Bert, I really don't think this is a problem. Like, there's enough seats at the table for everybody. We run our own race. I won't worry about any of this bullshit. This is just a bunch of noise. And he goes, oh my God, this is why I have you in my life. I was like, that's the truth. They're not taking anything away from you by doing something similar to what you're doing. No one could be you. Why you even worry about it?
It's actually a compliment.
It is a huge compliment.
We need to duplicate you,
more
bro.
of that.
We need more of that secret sauce.
Right.
But, you can't bottle it. Everybody ain't built
No one can take it. That's the thing.
Yep.
No one can take it. You may do something similar. It's not the same. I'm sorry. Hunt's ketchup is not like Heinz.
No matter what you do with the
no
label.
matter how you try. You may like Hunt's better. I don't.
Yeah.
But Heinz, there's nothing like it. You can't replace it. Annie's, not like Heinz.
That's exactly right.
Well, I hate to do this, but I got to pick up Georgia at the airport. So we have to wrap up. How do we wrap up? I know how we wrap up.
I'm waiting.
Okay. There's times in my lives when really special people show up, and those special people are my soulmates. You are one of my soulmates. I am so glad to know you. I love spending time with you. I love what I learn from you. I love how much I laugh. I love how much you've helped me understand myself more. I love how much you give to me and to Sandy and to Kat. I love you. And I want Tracy to be upset by saying that I love you, because I don't love you like she does. It's not the same.
No, man. But
I'm married, but I feel like you are a brother of mine. I think we had a past life together when we were brother and sister.
I'm 100% with you.
And I just fucking adore you. I adore every ounce of every part of you, even the parts that are warty. Because we all have warty, ugly parts.
Yeah, man.
And you're just the best. And I'm so grateful that I have you in my life. Thank you so much for all you give to me. Thank you. I love you to pieces.
Well, I want to say a small something in reply to that. I have a lot of information inside of me that I think sometimes can arm people with what they need to push on to the next step. And the one thing I love about this podcast is that I do believe every time you listen to it, you get a little something for your soul, something that pushes someone a little forward. And sometimes they hang on and they listen, and they hope you get to something that they can get benefit from. Well, you've kind of told them a little bit of what I am and what I do. And I want to invite all of you who are taking the time to listen. You want to ask me about something about health and nutrition, about training, about this, about that. You want to ask me something about, creating, producing your own films and casting and writing and directing. You want to ask me about anything, because I stand before you as a person that's done it with his own blood and sweat and tears, and has not did it looking for someone to find me, but I did it knowing I'd be found. And I want to speed that process up for you. So send LA any questions you may have. If I don't have the answers, I will say I don't know, and then proceed to find them. But I want to, because my love for you is as genuine as yours is for mine. I want everyone you touched to be available. I want to be a resource for them. So maybe I can give you something that gets you a little over the top, and then you're on and you're doing your thing. So please do that, because we will do this again, and
we will do this again, because I feel like we just got started and now we have to stop, and we've been talking for like an hour and a half. So you have to come back.
Yes, I'm coming.
You should come back with Sandy, because then the rascal will come out.
Yes.
The rascal Mykel, because you weren't very rascal today.
No.
You're a little stinking rascal. When we are in that gym, you are a handful, a piece of work, and a mess. And the only people from the South know what a mess means.
But I'm at your house.
But I love the rascal. I love all of you. I love this very together you, but I also love that one that,
Okay, I'll bring the rascal.
Is in the gym.
I'll bring that.
Next time.
Next time with me, I'll bring in the rascal.
And it's very generous of you to offer yourself as a resource to my listeners. In my intro, I'll tell everybody how to get in touch.
I appreciate it.
Does that sound good? No. I appreciate it. Thank you very much. Thank you.
You.
I love you, Mykel.
I love you too, LA.